you call us controversial and all sorts of names because you are refusing to listen to the truth. And anyone who speaks the truth is an unacceptable person in society. And we're not saying this truth in a violent way. We're saying it openly in a frank manner.
The bitter truth to the West from Julius Malema. Let us now listen to the president of African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi from Nigeria.
I told myself that there's nothing more important for me than to be given the responsibility and the resources and the confidence to go and transform the lives of the continent of my birth. And so it's not a job as far as I'm concerned. It's a mission and a responsibility that I have to this continent to do that.
The economy is not in the hands of the state as we speak now. It's in your hands. You are the ones who are owning strategic sectors of the economy. And therefore, if anything that is in the hands of private sector is so excellent and successful, why is Africa not successful? Because the economy of Africa is not in the hands of socialist state or communist state. It's private owned. If capitalism worked for America and Europe, capitalism has not worked for Africa.
Wow. I know you heard a little bit what this president of African Development Bank Group said on short clip that I made for you. Now I invite you to join with me to listen the whole clip from our brothers from Nigeria and one from South Africa. But we are all in the same continent. So let us listen the whole speech from these brothers. And I hope if we follow what these brothers said in this video, we can easily achieve the Agenda 53 and we can achieve the dream of many Africans that to make the Africa we want. I invite you to join this video. Please, your thought, let us know on the comment section. Please share this video to many as you can, to many fellow Africans as you can. Subscribe, like, and comment your thought on what you got from this video. Let us meet on the comment section.
Because when you went to the table, when business negotiated with the former liberation movement, you made certain things very clear. You are not prepared to surrender the land. You are not prepared to surrender the economy. You told them you can have a black president, but you are not going to do anything with our property ownership. When the liberation started in South Africa, it was not about voting. Voting was by the way. The formation of liberation movements followed the wars of dispossession. And Africans realized that if we fight as small groups, we get defeated. We need to come together and fight together under a progressive body. Fight for what? For reclaiming of our land. So you can't tell us we gave you 1994, that's enough. That's not what we formed the liberation for. We formed the liberation to reclaim our land, to reclaim our wealth. The economy is the land. The economy is the mines and all mineral resources. The economy is the food. There's no food without the land. The economy is the banks, retail stores. We need the participation of our people in the technology and science, because we cannot succeed to fight even diseases that can be cured for as long as our people do not own pharmaceutical companies. The diseases that must be cured easily kill our people, because pharmaceutical companies are owned by capital which is obsessed with maximizing profit at the expense of people. So we don't subscribe to those types of, all of this infrastructure me and you must agree about, which we are agreeing, will never be realized, because it has been proven that taxes alone cannot raise sufficient capital for the state. We have been collecting taxes since 1994. We still have a problem of infrastructural development because the money is not enough. We said to capital, run the economy, take charge of the economy, and through you paying taxes, then we'll be able as a state to develop this country. The same capital which we said run the economy still is not paying tax. They engage in financial illicit flows. They engage in aggressive tax avoidance in the country. No decisive legislation to deal with that. People take money in South Africa and invest it in tax havens. They are untouchable. If you do anything to them that is an interference, the state must not interfere. People, the investors will leave the country if the state goes on interfering in the economy. So we do not agree. We have this problem. We have this problem we're having today of an inequality which is growing, which is racially based, because of the economy which is in the hands of capital.
And so I started out by actually laying out a clear vision of exactly how I want to see Africa different.
Okay.
One, I don't accept poverty as normal. I think we have to end poverty in Africa. And so I said, look, 5 key things we're going to do is light up and power Africa, give Africa 100% access to electricity, feed Africa. I believe that if you cannot feed yourself, you cannot develop with pride. And therefore you have to feed your people, and nutritious people, productive people. The third is to industrialize Africa. I don't accept that Africa has to be at the bottom of the value chain in anything that we have natural comparative advantage on. So how do you turn that into real assets for yourself competitively and globally? That's very important. But also to integrate Africa. We've got 54 countries, and we've got a population of 1.4 billion people. And so we must be able to have to industrialize and not get stuck at the bottom of value chains and use that market size to grow ourselves. Okay. And finally, the fifth one is to improve the quality of life of the people of Africa. And that you have improving the skills and the education for young people in particular. Trying to make sure financial systems work for young people, and in particular women, because I'm a very, very pro women person all through my career. The importance of water and sanitation, but also making sure that people have top quality healthcare services. So those are the things that I set out to do, and it kind of was a bit funny in the beginning because people thought, oh, high fives, it's like hi, But in fact, the very powerful thing with my team and the board of directors, there was an external assessment done of those high fives by the United Nations Development Program. You know what they found? They said if Africa achieved those 5 fives, Africa would have achieved 90% of the Sustainable Development Goals globally. Wow. And they will have achieved 90% of the Agenda 2063 of our heads of state, which is the Africa we want. So we're relentless in making sure that we push for this. In fact, we just developed a new 10-year strategy for the bank. And we're trying to think of many things that we could do. We went back to the countries, and guess what they told us? Just continue doing the high fives because they're having impacts on us in our countries. And in the last 8 years now, that almost 9 years now that I've been president of the bank, those high fives have impacted on the lives of 400 million people. So as a leader, I think that's the excitement part. But there are all just challenges that you have to think about in trying to do that. One, of course, is you can have a great idea, a big ambition, but they say money answers all things. So if you don't have the money to do it, it just dies, And so the first thing that I had to do was to, very early in my term, seek the support of our shareholders. We have great shareholders. We have 81 shareholders of the bank. 54 of them are from Africa. 27 of them are from outside of Africa, to increase the capital of the bank. And it was not a walk in the park because no president of the bank ever since 1964 has tried to do anything like that in your first term. But I knew that if we didn't have the resources, we couldn't really transform Africa faster. So, at the end of the day, the shareholders agreed, and they increased the capital of the bank from $93 billion to $208 billion, increasing it by 150, literally, billion dollars.
The largest capital increase
ever in the history of the bank. And so I am very, very satisfied with that. And the other one, of course, is we have quite a number of low-income countries. There are 37 of them that cannot access the more commercial part of the bank, which is the one I just explained to you. So we have something called the African Development Fund. And so we do it every 3 years, replenishment and so on. Again, by the confidence of our shareholders, we had our 16th replenishment in 2022, and that we were able to raise, this is donor money, grant money, we were able to raise $8.9